All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to the presentation. Thank you so much for being here. We are now live. Hello, hello, hello. So I appreciate all you guys being here with us. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday wherever you are in this world. Hopefully you're having a good Friday wherever you are. Okay, so here we are, folks. I tell you what, the Christmas, what a lot of people don't know is Christmas season is still going on. Christmas is not over. Now, in the Catholic, I guess, denomination, if you will, we celebrate Christmas until Epiphany, which is until January the 6th. So you will still see, on the background, I still have my Christmas trees up. I still have, we will still playing Christmas hymns for night prayer. So, we still keep going. I know a lot of people have already taken down the Christmas. Like, goodness gracious, it's still going. But that's what we do. So, okay. So, hey, everybody, welcome. It's Friday night. It is Paranormal Fridays. And for those of you on TikTok, and hello, and everybody else, I appreciate you guys being here. First, let's get into the business aspect of things let's turn that down before we get into the presentation. I want you to go to a website. And that website is KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. KGRADB as in bicycle.com. Now, I want you to go to that site. It is a fantastic site. They are our sponsors. We use their program to stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all that other stuff. But I want you to make sure you subscribe. First of all, it's very inexpensive already, but make sure you subscribe and put Bishop as your promo code, because it'll say promo code. Just put Bishop in there, and you're going to get 30% off your subscription. So just please take advantage of it. For those of you, for the hater gators who are all going to say, I knew you were getting money. Nope, I'm not getting anything back in return. No finances, no kickback. Because we use their platform. So I said, no, I don't want it. So I appreciate them doing that. So it's a wonderful community. We love the community. We love the KGREDB family, and I support them. I proudly support them. And Mr. Producer behind the scenes, he's a fantastic guy. Don't tell him I said so. So anyway, KGRADB.com. Put Bishop as your promo code. Also, if you want to go to my website, very simple. It's BishopJamesLong, LONG.com. BishopJamesLong, LONG.com. I want to remind everybody that you can we have 4 classes that are online right now, and they are free of charge. Absolutely no charge whatsoever. And there's a lot of information that goes into these classes. So if you would like to take them, all you got to do is go to my website, BishopJamesLong, and click on the class link. And if you click on the class link, it will take you right there to the links. Just click it and start, and there you go. You also get little certificates to print off. It's a lot of work goes into this. But this is what I would like to do to give back to you guys, because education is absolutely crucial. We have to, when the good Lord calls me home, whenever that 30 years from now, I just want to be known as a person who loved teaching. That's the legacy for me, is someone who just has a deep passion about teaching about the paranormal, the supernatural, demonology, angelology. That's what I want to be, not for the television shows. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but what's more important is that I just to be able to share your knowledge and your experience. That is so crucial. That is so important. Truly is important. And of course, if you want to go to the church's website, that's usocc.org. usocc.org. Now, I want to remind everybody that tonight we have night prayer. A lot of folks are pretty stressed right now with finances and other issues, and I get it, especially because the holidays, Christmas just came around, and everything is so expensive. Everything is so expensive. People have told me, Bishop Long, my goodness, I was lucky just to be able to pay for food, let alone presents. I get it. I understand it. And so there's a lot of anxiety. So join us for night prayer, and we can hopefully we can help reduce some of that anxiety. It starts at 9:45 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker, and we go live on TikTok at 9:50 p.m. Eastern, and then we start it at 10 p.m. So join us. We would love to have you guys. And it's Monday through Friday. Tomorrow is our open mic night. So please join us. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern. And for the first 30 minutes, I goof off with Miss Wilma and Judy Ann. And then we have the moderators come on, and you guys get to interact with them on TikTok. So, and then, of course, Sundays and Wednesdays are our Bible study at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. So we're pretty busy. We stay very, very busy. I also want to remind you that coming up next month, as a matter of fact, in less than a month now, on January the 25th, I'm going to be traveling to Newark, New Jersey. So if you would like to go, and I'm doing a presentation with Bruce Tango, you need to go to his website, brucetango.com. And I think you got to click on the exorcism link. At least that's what it was last time, unless he's updated it. Make sure you go to that website and get those tickets. And because I have no idea how many seats he has available, I just simply don't know. But yeah, the exorcism there, and there you go. That's how you do it. And also, it looks like so there's other people. Gallery reading. I didn't know we were doing a gallery reading. So, but anyway, we can just hang on over there and Clark Holiday Inn in Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey. So please consider doing that. Yep, there it is, Judy. And that's going to be at 7 p.m. Excuse me, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there we go. All right. And let me just say this also. I want to... I do want to thank my friends, those of you, and I have for those of you who've already sent a couple things in the mail. Thank you very much, and I thank you for that, and I appreciate that very much. So this Linda Ari on TikTok, I got your card. Thank you very much. And gosh, there was so many. Grace, thank you very much. And I got the Tic Tacs, so thank you very much for that. And of course the gifts, so thank you. So it was really nice, and the beautiful cards. I certainly appreciate that. And then when I have some time, I'll be able to take some time and write back. And this is so I did receive them. Thank you for everybody for that. And this is this is from my friend Grace, and she does a great, she's fantastic as far as her artwork for her icons. And so that's very nice. Thank you. And of course, again, the gifts. So thank you guys. I appreciate that very, very much. Okay. So tonight, you know what? So many people like to talk about demons. Demons. And while that's important and we understand, and there's nothing wrong with talking about demons, we can't get so obsessed that becomes the primary focus. So we have to be very careful about this. Once you start demons, and everything is demons, then you kind of lose sight. Well, thank you there. We kind of lose sight of what's important, and it's not demons. And we're going to talk about the 7 archangels. Obviously, Christmas was right around the corner, just the other day, and we're still in the Christmas season. Catholics, we still celebrate the Christmas season until Epiphany, which is January the 6th, and that's the Magi, going to Christ, and because it symbolizes that Christianity is for everyone, the Gentiles, everyone. So, the 7 archangels. Very, very powerful. And a lot of people know, sometimes you ask them the archangels, they'll say Michael, Raphael, sometimes Raphael, and Gabriel. Always Michael. So always Archangel Michael. And there's nothing wrong with that. But before we get into this presentation, I want to talk about some stories that I have found and even spoken to people about regarding their encounters with angels. And I want to do this. I want to share some of these stories that I talked to a couple of people about, and then we'll get into the presentation. Thank you very much, and thank you. And if I If I don't say thank you on TikTok for the gifts, it's not because I'm being rude. It's because I have two computers running at the same time, and sometimes I don't see them. So thank you for the gifts, and thank you for sharing, everybody. So I knew a teacher. His name was Ben. He has passed. Well, he was struggling in high school, overwhelmed with academic pressure, personal issues. And this was, 15 years ago, I spoke to him. And during one particularly rough week, a substitute teacher that was named Miss Gray encouraged him in a way that no one else had. See, she listened, she provided support, she gave him a book that changed his perspective on overcoming adversity. And after that week, she never returned. And when Ben tried to find her to express his gratitude, he actually found that no one at the school knew of any teacher, any substitute teacher by that name. And he was absolutely convinced that that was an angel that was sent to guide him. And he even contacted the school district, and there was no Mrs. Gray, substitute teacher. There was another story that there was during a family picnic. Lily, she was a little girl. She wandered too close to the river, and her mom, Maria, noticed it, but it was too late. But she saw a woman standing near Lily and signaling her to stop. When Maria reached Lily, she looked around for the woman. She didn't see anyone. And Maria felt an overwhelming sense of safety, convinced that that was an angel protecting the child. And she even asked the kid, she said, where did she go? Where did she go? And the little child said she vanished. There was another, and I did speak to this person when I was in serving, actually in Louisville at this time, I believe, as a chaplain. I think it was in Louisville. Jake, he had a terrible, really serious, life-threatening car accident. And he was in intense pain. And he feared that he may never walk normally again. But actually, they told him he would never walk again, period. So one night in the hospital, during a particularly sleepless and a painful bout, a nurse entered his room, and he described her with a very calming presence, almost like she had this glow about her. And she softly laid a hand on his shoulder. And immediately he told me he felt a wave of relief and peace that just washed right over him. And he was refreshed, inspired, and Jake's recovery actually improved rapidly. And what's interesting is he described who this nurse, what she looked like, and again, the hospital said there was no nurse the way he described her. None. They didn't have anybody like that on the staff. It's powerful stories. As a chaplain, I hear a lot of stories like that, more than you think. There was another story where her name was Doris, and she lived alone. And she, especially during the Christmas season, she found herself feeling pretty lonely and discouraged, depressed. And there was a winter afternoon, and I went to her. She was in Louisville, and I would visit her in Louisville and give some food to the shut-ins. So one winter afternoon, a young man, she said, appeared at her doorstep, and he said, "Look, I want to shovel your driveway." And not only did he take care of the snow, but he actually spent time chatting with Doris, which lifted her spirits because she just felt like no one even cared. Her family didn't check in with her. Her friends kind of just forgot about her. And after he left, Doris wanted to offer him, like cookies, because she loved baking cookies. And when she looked, what was really ironic or odd about the whole thing is that he left, and she had said, it was maybe just a couple minutes after he left, he walked out the door. She said, she got some cookies, and she was chasing after him, like, "Oh, I'll give him some cookies, at least thank him for that." So Doris went to the front door, and when she looked out, there were no footprints in the snow leading away from her home. None. And there would have been. She absolutely, you could not convince her anything else. She felt 100% that she was visited by an angel who brought companionship and warmth to her. And I remember when she was telling the story, her eyes just kind of swelled up with tears. She just had that overwhelming joy. I'll never forget that story. She was so animated. I mean, it was just, when she talked about it, it was just so much joy. There was a story that I read. There was an individual. His name was Neil, and he was traveling through a dense forest, and he lost his path, and he became disoriented. So darkness was setting in, and he had no idea where he was. He didn't know how he got off the darkness. I mean, he had no idea. He had no idea how to get back on the path. But out of nowhere, a hiker appeared, and it didn't do anything but silently gesturing him to follow, just saying, follow me. And so Neil had no other choice. So he didn't know where he was, so he followed this stranger to a marked trailhead before this person just faded into the woods without a word. Neil never met the hiker again, and he believed absolutely that it was an angel. It's interesting also, the Oikigahara Forest. The Oikigahara Forest in Japan is known also as the unaliving forest. I can't say the other word because of social media and rules and regulations, but a lot of people report seeing this monk. And this monk will always, if they're trying to, think about maybe descending it, is it too much stress, and they report that there's a monk, and that he wears the complete clothing and everything, and talks to them and calms them, but no one knows, no one can find this monk, and it's a pretty fascinating story. Another story is that there was a Anne, or she went by Anna, and I met her, and Anna was she had a hard life. Anna had a real hard life. She was living on her own, and she was elderly. She was struggling with financial problems, and that left her demoralized. I mean, I remember dropping off some food for her, and she was so overwhelmed. She was so overwhelmed because, she couldn't afford some of her medicines, and her health was just deteriorating. She worked all her life, and she was a widow. And so she didn't qualify for any state programs, welfare programs, or anything like that. And so she couldn't get any help, which is unfortunate because she worked all her life. But so she couldn't get any assistance. I mean, she got Medicare, but that was very limited. She couldn't afford the 20% because Medicare pays 80%. So one day, she went, an elderly woman struck up a conversation with her at a cafe. She walked down the street, and she tried to get her exercise in. And she went down to this cafe. And she remembered just sitting there. She ordered some water because she couldn't afford anything else. And she just wanted to be out with people because she was pretty depressed. But this elderly woman, she said she felt a kinship towards her, like she was related somehow to this person. And this elderly woman began to speak words of wisdom and encouragement to her. And she handed Anna an envelope. And she told her, she said, whatever you do, just hold on to it. Don't look inside until this woman is gone. So here's Anna, she's elderly, she's stressed. And this woman just comes right up there and says, can I talk to you? And my name is Anna. She just starts talking to her. So anyway, she left the cafe, and when Anna got home, she opened it. She found money because Anna couldn't afford her rent. I mean, she didn't own her property, and her husband, they weren't wealthy, but she found money, and that covered her rent for that month. And so Anna tried to, to find and thank this stranger, and couldn't find anything. So Anna absolutely 100% concluded, and she even went back to the cafe and she asked people if they remember seeing this woman, and they remember seeing Anna, but they don't remember seeing Anna speaking to this person, which is pretty profound. So there's one individual, his name is Tom, and he doesn't really do it anymore, but he loved bicycling. I mean, he cycled a lot. That was his wind therapy, if you will. He noticed a pretty large pothole, but he couldn't avoid it. And so suddenly he's told me that it was like a push on his back seemed to guide him safely out of harm's way with an inexplicable burst of speed. And he glanced back to find that no one was there. And he absolutely remained convinced that his mom had recently passed. And he knew he was going to hit the pothole. He knew he was going to hit it. And he just didn't have enough burst to, I guess, go so fast. He kind of go over it, but he could not explain it. He felt like something pushed him so hard that it propelled him over the pothole. Absolutely convinced of this. There was a woman that I met in the nursing home. And she was a very, very kind woman. And she told me a story. She loved playing the piano. Loved it. And so they had a piano there in the nursing home. And many times she would go down, to the rec room and she'd play the piano. And so many of the elderly people would hear it and they'd go in there. And that was their time. That was their, it was just a beautiful moment for them. Well, she told me that there was a story once that it was kind of a dreary afternoon, and she went to like a park, and a man began playing the violin nearby. Because she told me at that moment, on that day, she felt kind of melancholy. She just kind of down. So she went to the park, and this man was playing a violin, and it just captivated her with the melodies that kind of reawakened her love for music. And she says that his tunes were hauntingly beautiful, and it just kind of lifted her spirit. And when she approached him to thank him for that, he wasn't there. So I mean, just completely. I mean, she was so excited. She said she went to go grab some water at the water fountain, and she was like that music just lifted her spirits, and she was going to go back to him thanking. And when she went back, I mean, everything was gone. I mean, he packed up so fast. She said there was no way he could have packed up that fast, but he did, which is a pretty amazing story. There's two more stories, and then I will get into it. I read online. There's an individual named Jack, and he was trapped after an earthquake struck. That's terrible. That's a fear of mine, because we live in the New Madrid fault line in Kentucky, and I'm always concerned about that, because there was a couple small earthquakes here in the New Madrid, and matter of fact, there was one time it was so powerful it made the Mississippi run backwards. So anyway, he got trapped in an earthquake, and all emergency exits in the office were completely blocked, and no power. Without power, communication went down. But he said that he heard a calm voice guiding him through the darkness to a nearby escape route that he hadn't known even existed. And when rescue came, there was no record of anyone else on that floor. Absolutely none. And finally, I talked to a couple, and there was so Carla, I'll just say her name was Carla. She found herself doubting her decision to adopt a child. Hello there, Grace. I got your item. Thank you. And so she really was doubting her decision to adopt a kid, and she began to feel overwhelmed and even teetering on the brink of backing out. But one day she told me that she discovered a handwritten note with a quote inside. It was a charity shop book that she was about to donate to. And the note said, "The greatest joy is the discovery that we are not alone." That is power. And so the warmth of those words seemed impossible to miss, or just as chance. And so Carla, she believed that was an angelic decision and signed, reaffirming her path. And she went through with the adoption, which turned out to bless her life immensely. So these are just some stories that people have talked about regarding angelic experiences. So let's talk about our archangels. And I think that so many people need to understand that, yes, there are demons, certainly, but let's not forget there are angels. Hello. So the earliest reference to a system of 7 archangels actually appear to be in Enoch, the book of Enoch. It's not a part of the Jewish canon, but it's a part of the tradition. And they're named Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Raquel, Ramiel, and Sariel. And the book of Enoch is non-canonical in most Christian churches, but it is something that I would encourage people to read. And in the late 5th and 6th century, Pseudo-Dionysius gives them as Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Camiel, Jophiel, and Zadkiel. Now, the earliest Christian mention is by Pope Gregory I, and he listed them as Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Simiel, Raphael, and Raquel. And then, of course, there was another, it continued to, evolve. But archangels are considered to be very powerful spiritual beings, and certainly have captured our attention for centuries. The prefix arch, or arch, means ruling or chief in Greek. Religious texts refer to an archangel as being at a high level in the celestial hierarchy. Now, people ask, while the exact number of archangels is really unknown in many traditions, but faith reference many 7 archangels. And who these 7 are is also a source of debate, varying from faith to faith. Many scriptures tells us of the archangel's great abilities as healers and guides. Well, he was considered a cherubim. And we can talk about that in just a second. Now, don't forget, Lucifer, certainly. Yeah, Lucifer was most certainly an angel. And I think we kind of forget that sometimes. And one of the most powerful. So, cherubim. And we can talk about that in just a second, but I want to get to the 7 archangels first. Now, although the Catholic Church canonically recognizes 3 archangels, I think one can assume there are at least 4 more due to the regular references that they are mentioned, certainly in tradition, and even in the book of Enoch names them as well, 7 archangels. Now, the only archangels mentioned in the Bible are Michael. We see this in Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. Gabriel, which is in Luke chapter 1, verse 19. And Raphael, which is in Tobias, which is chapter 12, verse 15. Now, let's talk about the types of angels. There are the seraphim. And we're going to get into a list of the angels as well, and talk a little bit about that. But I really want to focus primarily on the archangels. You have the seraphim, which is in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 2. Cherubim, which is in Genesis chapter 3, verse 24, and Hebrews. Thrones, which is Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. Dominions, which is Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. Virtues, which is Ephesians chapter 1, verse 21. Powers, in Romans chapter 8, verse 38. Principalities, which is in Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. Archangels, Revelation 12, verse 7, and Jude 9. And then angels. There's over 300 references just of the term angel alone. Now let's go into the meaning of the angels, by the way. Michael means he who is as God. And Raphael means God heals. We always pray to Raphael during our night prayer. Gabriel is God is my strength. Jophiel is beauty of God. Ariel is lion of God. Azrael is whom God helps. And Chamuel, which he who sees God, for those who believe in those particular ones. So let's break this down. The 7 archangels play a very unique role in our world. And here are the roles and duties of each 7 archangels. First of all, Michael. Michael's role is to bring protection to us. He is a warrior that is aligned with courage, strength, and justice. Raphael is responsible for healing physical and mental ailments. Gabriel is known as the angel of communication. He plays the role of God's messenger. Jophiel is responsible for guiding you to see the beauty in all things by redirecting your perception back to love. Ariel is responsible for protecting the earth and its resources and inhabitants. Azrael helps the diseased transition into the spirit realm. And then finally, Chamuel is responsible for bringing peace to the world. He's capable of restoring order in even the most chaotic situations. So let me break them down individually so that you can kind of get a perspective on each one. How's that? Okay. First, Michael. The meaning of his name is he who is as God. And the color that is associated with Michael is blue. And again, a lot of this is a tradition as well. So this information that I'm presenting to you is obviously biblical as well as tradition. The role of Michael. Archangel Michael is the most well-known. As a matter of fact, this is the statue. You guys can barely see that there. Well, I'll show you. This is my Archangel. This is Michael's statue that I have. So that's Michael. You guys, of course, can see this. Okay. So Archangel Michael is the most well-known and most powerful archangel, many people say. His role is to bring protection to us. He is a warrior that is aligned with courage and strength and justice. So in moments of crisis, Michael is the archangel you should call upon. He will offer guidance, divine protection to those who need him the most opportune time. Now, people always say, well, I'm not going to pray to an angel. I'm going to go directly to God. Here's the deal. No one is saying you have to. And I'm certainly not advocating that you must. But for those of us who do, let's tune down the hate rhetoric. Because if me calling upon St. Michael offers me comfort, then I think that's enough. People say, well, you should never pray to angels. Never. Go directly to God. Then why do you ask me to pray for you? Go directly to God. I could say the same thing. It's called intercessory prayer. So you ask me to pray for you, and I do. I ask you to pray for me. And for those of you who do, thank you. It's the same principle for Michael and the archangels. We call upon Michael. We call upon all the archangels. Certainly. Oh, yeah, Michael can be a patron saint. Yeah. So Michael is the archangel. And so when you need guidance, divine protection, as a matter of fact, when before an exorcism, we will always pray the St. Michael prayer. St. Michael, the archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the malice and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host. By the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all evil spirits who wander the earth seeking the ruin of souls. So we certainly pray this is the St. Michael prayer. Now, Archangel Michael most often reveals himself as a glimmer of blue light. Many people claim who have had what they believe is visitation from Michael. They describe it as a blue color, as color blue as a reminder that you are being protected by Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, whose name means he who is as God, is most often thought as the angel of protection. Some people say the most powerful of all angels. He is considered a leader within the angelic realm and a patron angel of righteousness and mercy and justice. I'm kind of curious, how many of you have actually called upon St. Michael? Because a lot of people have, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. So I'm just kind of curious, just say yes, 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 no, no. Quite a few of you have. I'm seeing a lot of people here saying, yep. Yeah, if you have, let me know, because I in prayer requests, yeah. Oh, sure, absolutely we can. We absolutely can call upon St. Michael without question. You can call upon your guardian angels as much as you want. But let me remind you, so a lot of people saying yes, yes, yes. Let me remind you that your guardian angels will never, never help you unless you give them permission to. So you need to understand that. And what I mean by that is they will never interfere with free will. They can't. They won't. That's what demons do. Demons will violate your free will. They will never do that. Never. So if you want your archangel to help you, then you need to say, my guardian angel, whomever you may be, I give you permission to intercede on my behalf and help me with this, whatever it is that you're dealing with, because you have to give them permission. They cannot just enter into your life without permission. That's a violation of your free will, and they will not do it, and they cannot do it. So make sure that if you're struggling and you want your guardian angel to help, they will. But you have to give them permission. You have to. Okay? So, yeah, Archangel Michael, I have never experienced, someone's asking me on Messenger, have I ever experienced the blue? No, I've never experienced the blue color. Some people who call upon St. Michael have described it as like a sort of like a bluish kind of hue, if you will. And they're absolutely convinced that they have. Yeah, now when you're talking about the ranking of angels, the highest orders, you have three tiers or spheres or levels. The first is the highest order, seraphim, cherubim, and thrones. The middle order is dominion, virtues, and powers. And then the lowest order is principalities, archangels, and angels. Now, many people argue that Archangel Michael, because he's a warrior, is also a cherubim. Now, there's a lot of debate on that because Lucifer is considered a cherubim, or was considered a cherubim. There are some people saying they've had the experience of Michael, and they said that they have like a baby blue color. Yeah, see, a lot of people are experiencing that. Okay. Now, as such, scriptural artwork depicts him as a warrior, most often carrying a sword, and Archangel Michael assists situations where you are afraid, confused, perhaps concerned for your safety. He helps to release fear and doubt and supports us in making life changes, is often said to work closely with those who perform healing work or provide spiritual teaching. People ask me, well, do you believe in healing work? I do. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? Healing work, absolutely 1,000,000%. We see in Scripture, Jesus absolutely told his disciples to go and perform the miracles, and they did. As a matter of fact, it says in Scripture many times that they performed miracles in Jesus' name. That's very important to understand. That there's a lot of people doing healing work, but they're doing it in their name. No. So when you do healing work, it's always in Jesus' name. And I have seen it. People also ask me all the time, there's not laying of hands. My brain just said, goodbye. Reiki. What do I think about Reiki? Well, here's the deal. Let me just make this clear. Because I served as a chaplain, well, still do, but I went to Louisville. When I was in Louisville, I served as a chaplain, and I saw a nun. She was not in her habit, but I knew her as a nun. She introduced herself as sister, and she was a Roman Catholic nun. And there was a person who was in distress. And I prayed over the individual, administering last rites, and I could see there was physical distress. And so the nun was in there, and she said, do you mind if I perform Reiki? Now, I'm more of a traditionalist in many ways. Immediately, I was caught off guard with that. But she says, this is not magic. I don't believe in it. She said, I don't believe in magic. This is energy work that comes from God, and I'm God's vessel. And it's okay. So he really wasn't fully aware but she began doing Reiki. It didn't touch him at all. And I saw the labor, the breathing, the laborious breathing, it just calmed. It was to me, that was a miracle, because I could see, because he was aware, he was well enough that he was knowing he was receiving the last rites. And that caused him anxiety. The family requested it. But when the sister did this, he just, instead of that deep struggling breathing, he just calmed. And I thought that was unbelievable. And this is a Roman Catholic nun who did this. And when I saw that, that was the first time that I began to start questioning, you know what, I need to look into this. And I need to learn a little bit more, because I just simply didn't know a whole lot. I was always taught, oh, it's magic, it's evil, it's the work of the devil. But as I talked to her and I sat down and got to know her, and she kind of educated me, which I needed that. So that was pretty powerful. Okay, so back to St. Michael. He can fix, now many people are absolutely convinced that he can fix mechanical and electrical problems, and additional areas where our Archangel Michael can be assistance, including courage, direction, energy, vitality, all aspects of life purpose, motivation, worthiness, self-esteem. He's the only angel, by the way. Michael he's mentioned in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew scripture, and the New Testament. And Daniel chapter 10 describes him as the prince of the angels and protector of Israel. And the Epistle of Jude in the book of Revelation also mentions Michael as the one who victoriously battles the devil. So he is invoked anytime there's suspicion of demonic or diabolical activity. And the prayer of St. Michael, by the way, is used on such occasions, was also prayed after every Mass in the Catholic Rite from 1886 to 1964. So it's a beautiful prayer. And I encourage you, there's a longer form of St. Michael prayer, and then there's a shorter form. Okay. So we're going to go into the next one, since time goes by too fast, doesn't it? Yeah, St. Michael is viewed as the leader of the army of God. From the time of the apostles, he's been invoked and honored as the protector of the church. And even Scripture describes him as one of the chief princes, and the leader of heaven's forces in the triumph over the powers of hell. It's interesting because St. Michael defeats Satan twice. First, when he ejects Satan from paradise. And then, by the way, for those of you who think Satan is cool and all this other stuff, he gets beat. In the final battle, the end times, Michael does it again. Pretty beautiful, actually. All right. Now, in the Roman Catholic teachings, which is interesting when I studied in the seminary, Michael is one of the angels who is assumed to be present at the hour of a person's passing. And in his role as the patron of holy souls, Archangel Michael reaches to souls near death and saves them, hence frustrating Satan. And so he is charged to assist the dying and accompanying their souls. And again, if you don't know the church, if you don't know the prayer, I would encourage you just Google that. And yes, we do have the St. Michael prayer when we do this. Raphael, you're very welcome there, Dr. Campbell. So Raphael means God heals, and he is the patron saint for travelers. By the way, so is St. Christopher. His color, typically people refer to him as green. And Archangel Raphael is responsible for healing physical and mental ailments. So if you're in a medical profession, Raphael is the angel to call upon for assistance, or if you're sick. So if you are someone who is going through a lot of health struggles, call on Raphael to bring healing to you. We pray for intercessor. I'm going to say this again, because I understand that a lot of people may not understand why we call upon angels and why we ask them to help. There is no difference between us calling upon our angels, the angels above in heaven, and you asking me to pray for you. It is the same concept. You're not asking me to heal you. You're asking me to pray for you. I call upon St. Michael to help me in any way that Michael can, or Raphael, any way that Raphael can. That's what we do. So if you're going through, hold on for the questions. Let me get through this here because, well, time is, my gosh, it's already 7:45 p.m. Eastern. It goes too fast. So the healing may occur as a miracle, or you may be led toward a solution that will restore your well-being and allow your higher self to step forward and be receptive to new forms of guidance. God works miracles through medical professionals. And Archangel Raphael often shows up as a glimmer of green light. So for those of you who are miracle workers, you know what I'm referring to, using the color green as a sign that healing is available to you right now. And Archangel Raphael, whose name means God heals, is the archangel designated for physical and emotional healing. So if you're struggling with any of those, you call upon Raphael. In Hebrew word Rophi means to heal. And Archangel Raphael not only helps in healing individuals, but also helps healers in their healing practice. And he can help reduce addictions, cravings, and is powerful in healing other injuries and illnesses, with cures often occurring immediately. And Archangel Raphael aids in restoring and maintaining harmony and peace. He's also the patron saint for travelers, watching over them to ensure a safe and harmonious journey. You can go, Alex, you can go to bishopjameslong.com and click on my class link. And there they are. There's all four of them are there. Now, working in conjunction with Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael helps to clear away fears and stressors that may be adversely affecting your health. I will tell you this, when I was not in the greatest health, I called upon Raphael quite often. And also, Raphael appears in the book of Tobit, where he is sent by God to help three people: Tobit, his son Tobiah, and his future daughter-in-law, Sarah. Sarah had been cursed by a demon, and I'm not going to give the name, so that her husband passed on their wedding night before they consummated the marriage, leaving her without offspring. And widows without children were considered the most desperate and of society. And because in ancient times, women literally depended on their husbands and sons to care and protect for them. And without either the husband or children, a widow was vulnerable as an orphan. And so for Sarah, the situation was even more tragic. Before she married Tobiah, she had had 7 previous husbands. All of them had passed on their wedding night. So Tobit was a wealthy and devout Jew and lived among the captives being deported to Nineveh from the northern kingdom of Israel. And according to Jewish tradition, Jews are required to bury the dead, especially the Hebrew victims of a particular king of Assyria. The burial rite was against the law, however, as Hebrew captives had no civil rights whatsoever. But one night, after burying a fellow Israelite, Tobit slept outside his bedroom and was blinded by droppings left by birds. And in those times, blindness was as much of a tragedy as being a widow. So Raphael was sent to help restore sight to Tobit, to end the curse of Sarah, and to unite Sarah and Tobiah as husband and wife. And during his visit, by the way, he appeared in human form. Only when he was about to return to heaven did Raphael reveal his true identity. And because of his time accompanying young Tobiah on a journey, St. Raphael is invoked as the patron saint of travelers, especially those on a pilgrimage. We got to do a puzzle already. Goodness gracious, it goes by too fast, doesn't it? Okay. So Tobit is one of the 7 books in the Old Testament that are in Catholic and Eastern Orthodox books, or Bibles, I'm sorry. Okay, now Raphael is in the book of Enoch as well. And I encourage you to read Enoch, but just understand that it is a Gnostic book. And so just kind of be aware of that. All right, Gabriel. Gabriel, well, some people say Metatron is. So Gabriel is God is my strength. And he is the patron saint for messengers, journalists, and communications. Many people describe Gabriel as white. And Archangel Gabriel is known as the angel of communication. He plays the role of God's messenger. So if you work in the field of communications, well, thank you there, Janelle. Gabriel is the angel you should bond with. And Gabriel excels at helping artists, writers, teachers spread their messages with authenticity. Now, if you're having trouble communicating or expressing your thoughts, allow the guidance of Gabriel to help you express your highest truth. Now, Archangel Gabriel's name means God is my strength. And one of the two archangels specifically named in the Bible, in both the Old and New Testament, is often portrayed as holding a trumpet, as perhaps some even say as a female archangel. As the patron of communications, Archangel Gabriel is a messenger angel, acting as a messenger of God. And, of course, helps writers and journalists convey their messages. But Jesus said that they're genderless and they do not procreate. So they don't marry. So the idea that demons had relations with women and they had the Nephilim is biblically incorrect. Okay. Gabriel. Gabriel also assists in overcoming issues of fear and procrastination in communication, as well as in all areas related to children, helping during conception, pregnancy, and of course, Gabriel. Now, of course, what I say, some people define Gabriel as if male or female. Thank you there, Tammy. I don't think it's important to. To me, it's irrelevant. Now, Gabriel first appeared in the book of Daniel, delivering explanations of Daniel's vision, and also in the Gospel of Luke. So Gabriel foretold the births of John the Baptist and Jesus. And Christians in the Catholic traditions refer to him as Gabriel the Archangel. Now, what's interesting is in Islam, Gabriel was the medium through whom God revealed the Quran to Muhammad, and that he sent a message to most prophets, if not all, revealing their obligations. And he is, by the way, Gabriel is called the chief of the four favored angels, the spirit of truth. He is called the created, again, Muslims believe that he spoke to Muhammad, but people also refer to that as the Holy Spirit, but don't get that confused between they're talking about Gabriel. Okay. In the book of Daniel, says that Gabriel is resembling a man and identified as a man. Gabriel appears to the prophet Daniel. But in a moment, I'm going to give you what angels actually look like. And if you really look at it, it doesn't really look. They're completely different than what we think of perhaps what the pictures are, because they're not cute little cuddly things. Now, Gabriel's horn. So in English-speaking culture, the image of Gabriel as the angel that shall blow the trumpet that blasts initiates the end of time. And perhaps maybe many people are convinced. If you've seen those videos, haven't you seen those videos where the trumpet is being blown? Have you heard that? Yeah, I've seen videos like this quite often. Well, no. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's not. If you look at the description, we'll talk about the description in just a second. But yeah, it's not the pretty little angels with the no. We're talking about the shofar. Yeah, the shofar. By the way, let me just do this real quick. This is what the shofar, I believe, would sound like. Let me see. That's pretty cool, isn't it? That's a powerful. I mean, and everybody is going to hear that one day. People are always so afraid. And oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that? You know, let me give you a little bit. Let me give you a little bit of help with that. There's not going to be a guessing. When that does happen, everybody will know. Everybody will know. It's going to be pretty clear. The whole entire earth is going to shake. So there's not going to be a, did you hear that? You're going to know. You're going to know. And yeah, I'm absolutely convinced of that. Okay, so let's do back to our presentation in just a second, as soon as I can find this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. We'll turn that down. Okay, now, yeah, Metatron, yeah, we can talk about that later, but right now I want to talk just about the 7 archangels. Okay, the next one is Jophiel. Jophiel. No, I think you should. I think you should study Hebrew. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. So Jophiel, the name means beauty of God, and the color is yellow. And Jophiel is responsible for guiding you to see the beauty in all things by redirecting your perception back to love. Now, please don't do that, Jeremiah. Please don't do that. That's inappropriate, and I don't want to block you, but we don't attack other people's faith. So that's not what we're going to do here. Okay, you're welcome here, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So if you could please delete your comment. We're not here to bash, Muslims. We're not here to bash anyone. That's not acceptable. We can disagree. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing, but we're not going to bash people in their faith. That's not what we do here. That's not what I do. So I encourage you to please delete that. Actually, I'll do it for you. Okay. Yeah, we have that. There's enough hatred in the world. We don't participate in that hatred. Okay, Jophiel. The meaning, the name is beauty of God, and the color is yellow. And Archangel Jophiel is responsible for guiding you to see the beauty in all things. Now, Jophiel helps artists and creatives tap into the creative energy of joy and love. Hello there, Bishop Torres. And when you're stuck in negative emotions, call upon Jophiel to help you realign with the loving presence of God. And Jophiel reveals themselves through rays of yellow light. And many people absolutely who tell me that they work with angelic beings. You can go to bishopjameslong.com and scroll down. You can see where it says. You can just send me a message there in my P.O. box. Jophiel, by the way, is the patron saint of artists. And Archangels, Jophiel's name means, again, beauty of God. And it helps to see and maintain beauty in life. Supports us in thinking beautiful thoughts and staying positive, as well as creating and manifesting beauty in our surroundings. So if life seems a bit mundane and you find yourself having a hard time seeing the beauty of life anymore, first of all, turn off social media. That's the first thing you do. There's a lot of hatred on social media. A lot. So number one, if you want to stay on social media, that's fine, but make sure you block the people that are spewing, toxic rhetoric to scare you, like they did on the popes. In Rome, the Pope is opening the portals. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Nothing, because they've been doing it since the 14th century. It was just a scare tactic, just to make a buck off of you. That's all it was. So people are asking me again about the Pope opening the doors. They've been doing this every Jubilee year, every 25 years. Every 25 years they do it. And since the 14th century. It's symbolism. But so many people were going all over social media, scaring everybody, making videos for at least 60 seconds on TikTok, because that's when they make a buck. You have to make at least 60 seconds. And then as many people make comments and review it and share it, then you get more money. So these people made so much money off pretending to be experts in Roman Catholicism, and I've said this a million times, they probably have never even been in a Roman Catholic church a day in their life. And now all of a sudden they're experts in Roman Catholicism. Nothing happened. It's symbolism. Thank you, Janelle. It's symbolism. That's all it was. But yet they scared everybody. and they made plenty of money. Oh, believe me, they're going to get a pretty fancy, nice paycheck of scaring you. So don't listen to those people. You need to block those people because they don't care about your well-being. They don't care about your mental health. They don't, not at all. The only thing they care about is causing anxiety within you so they can make you continue to watch their videos so they can make $1 off of your anxiety. That's demonic. There's no other way around it. That is demonic. Anybody who purposely creates videos because they know it's clickbait. They know it's going to cause anxiety, and they know people are going to comment. They know people are going to share, and they do it on purpose. So the whole point is so they can make a buck. Block those people because it's toxic. Because let me tell you, the devil's not stupid. The devil absolutely knows how to use any and everything at its disposal to steal your peace. And let me tell you something, the devil was hard at work. And it's continuing to be hard at work every single day to steal your joy and peace. So anybody, if you go on social media and the person is always, every single video they do, it's to scare you. If you watch their video, every single one of them, it's all about terror to scare you because they know the secret. And the secret is, as long as you scare people, they will entertain it, they will watch it, they will comment, and you will make $1. That's pure evil. That's evil. There's no other way around it. People say, oh, come on, Bishop, well, they're just trying to make $1. No, you don't make $1 on stealing someone's joy because they know full well what they're doing. It's not as if they don't know. They do know it causes anxiety. They do know that it instills fear in people. And they do know that right there is the recipe that will make them a pretty fancy paycheck. Block them. I literally have blocked. I've blocked so many people. I'm not even going to allow that person to, nope. I'm not going to give the devil a chance to work on you. Nope. Block. And that's what you should absolutely do this. All right, Jophiel. So Jophiel is the patron saint of artists. And Jophiel watches over artists supporting and creating beautiful art, assisting us in slowing down, bringing calm to our lives, heals negativity and chaos. So we need to call upon Jophiel. And also helps to tame ego. Ego is very important to get in control of. Ego stands for edging God out. When seeking wisdom or a shift in perspective, Archangel Raphael is the archangel to call upon to uplift you and help see you things from a different perspective. And in Hebrew, of course, it means beauty of God or divine beauty. It is the archangel of wisdom, understanding, and judgment. And I would encourage you to call upon Jophiel when you're stressed and you can't see the beauty of life anymore. The next one is Ariel, or some people say Uriel. And so Uriel, we'll just say Uriel. It means a lion of God, and the color is purple. And Archangel Ariel, or Uriel, is responsible for protecting the earth and its resources and inhabitants. So if you are an animal lover, as I am, if you are, or environmental activist, Ariel is the archangel you should call on. And allowing the loving presence of Ariel to guide you through your thoughts and actions so that you can play a role in the helping the planet's natural resources, the ecosystems, and animals. Ariel can help you see can help you see a difficult situation from a more loving perspective. So you can create positive changes with less resistance from others. And again, many people who do angelic work and call upon Ariel will say that the color purple is associated with Ariel. No, actually, Jesus says they're generalists. So whenever you see the color purple, you can trust that Ariel is by your side and offering guidance. So Ariel, again, is the patron saint of animals and environment. It means lion or lioness of God. And the role is to protect the earth and the ecosystem. And also, Ariel is called upon to help injured animals by working with Archangel Raphael as well. And yeah, loves the absolutely, yeah. So if that's important to you, you might want to absolutely look into this. The angels are actually mentioned in older books in the Hebrew Bible without names. And so, but we see certainly throughout history and tradition where they came up with the names. Okay, the next name, and it's a book in the Book of Enoch as well. And I mean, even in Anglican churches. The next one is Azrael. Oh, well, thank you there, Denise. So Azrael, the name means God, whom God helps. And the color that's associated with Azrael is indigo. Indigo. That's an interesting color, isn't it? Oh, indigo? Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty color. It's kind of like it's a deeper purple and violet color. So it's very similar, yeah. Archangel Azrael is often known as here we go. Azrael is also often known as the angel of death. And the purpose of Azrael is to help the deceased transition into the spirit realm, because someone was asking. So if you're someone that deals with a lot of losses and deaths, as I do as a chaplain, be sure to call upon Archangel Azrael to ease the pain and sorrow of the loved ones of the deceased. But death can also be applied metaphorically to transitions and new beginnings, like manifesting a new job or new relationships, a new place to live. And calling on Azrael, whenever you're starting a new endeavor, people will do that, or it makes help a smooth transition. And the color indigo is a sign of Azrael's presence. So whenever you see indigo lights, people say you can trust that Azrael is assisting someone around you. He is often referred to as the angel of death, because it is believed that Azrael meets souls and helps them in the transition of death, in addition to helping newly crossed over souls adjust. He also helps loved ones who are still on the earth plane in dealing with the grief and the processing of life, or of loss of life. And Azrael helps ministers and spiritual teachers from all belief systems and religions in their spiritual counseling, and assist also grief counselors. It's important to shield yourself from absorbing the client's pain, and to guide the words and actions. I got to tell you something. Well, yeah, technically, Alex. You know, that's when you're a grief counselor, and when you're a chaplain at the hospital, you see death so often, and you have to be careful, because I think all of us, if you care, if you love people, I think all of us have some type of empath abilities. Empathy, I don't think it's anything, crazy. We all can feel each other's emotions. I mean, at least I think we can. I can. I just think everybody should be able to. If you're a caring and you're a loving person, you can feel someone's pain. And we call upon Azrael to help us. I certainly have. There was a case that I worked. She was 60. I told you about this. Yeah, I guess not all people can. See, for me, it's just kind of, it's just who I am. I mean, I don't, people call me, do I consider I thought everybody was an empath, but I guess not. But it's just who I am. But there was she was 68 years old, and that was the case that I worked. That was a very rough case. That was an incubus case, and it was horrible. But I grew to love her and the family. And so when she passed away, not because of that, because of natural causes, they asked me to preside at her funeral. And that was rough. That was rough. Because, obviously I cared for the family and I cared for her. And she went through so much that I definitely remember during, the liturgy there, I remember call upon Azrael to help, because, and that's with anybody. I mean, when you are emotionally involved, you need that. Okay, help me get through this. This archangel assists in all types of transition and endings, not just those in loss or death. So Azrael also helps with like transitions with relationships or career, or helping us to navigate as smoothly as possible through life's changes. And the angel of death is in the Jewish and Islamic religions. So he watches over the dying, helps separate the soul from the body, receives the spirits of the dead. And some even speculated about the connection between Azrael and and Ezra. And he's depicted as an archangel whose history long predates this figure. And okay, so we're going to go now into Chamuel. The name actually means he who sees God. He who sees God. The color of Chamuel is pink. So Archangel Chamuel is responsible for bringing peace to the world. Lord knows we need to call upon Chamuel. He's capable of restoring order in even the most chaotic situations. So if you find yourself caught up in drama and conflict, call upon Chamuel to restore peace in your life. I've experienced this personally. He will guide you to see the situation with compassion and forgiveness. When I was, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when I received a lot of serious, legitimate threats to my life because of what I do. When I did the Ghost Adventure show and the other shows, I was getting some legitimate death threats, even to the point where the police had to get involved. And so I've talked about this before. I went to Indianapolis at a conference, and they had to hire 4 police officers. For what? Because I go to people's homes and I bless their homes for free. But I had to call upon Chamuel many times, especially with because I had to learn at that time. I was so angry. How dare they? How dare someone do this? And put everybody else, not so much my life at risk, but everybody else, their life at risk. And so I had to learn forgiveness. And so I did. I call upon Chamuel to help. So, by the way, the archangel has been called by many different names throughout history, and sometimes is confused with other angels. His mission is to bring peace to the world, and as such, he protects the world from fear and other negative energies, and he is believed to have all-knowing vision, seeing the interconnectedness between all things. So Chamuel assists us in finding the strength and courage to face adversity when it seems that we have none left. Chamuel. Yeah, there are many different pronunciations I've heard, but Chamuel. Some people say Camuel. Chamuel. So if you suffer from anxiety, if you suffer from stress, then I absolutely encourage you. It's also spelled Camiel, Camael. So it's also a very good. That's also a name you can look on. So there's several. There's also some people spell it as Khamal. Some people Camiel. So there's several ways, but nonetheless, primarily it's either Chamuel and or Camiel is Camal. Okay. So there we go. Those are our 7 archangels that that's hopefully you have learned a little bit about them. Yeah, and again, don't forget the archangels. You have 3 tiers or levels or spheres. You have the cherubim, seraphim, and thrones. That's the highest. The middle order is dominions, virtues, and powers. And the lowest order are principalities, archangels, and angels. So there we are. Yeah, I don't bring people online because I just don't. So, okay, there we have it. And yeah, if you actually look at the angels, it's not they're not pretty little things. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that. I'll explain that in just a second. But yeah, the angels are not. A lot of people get confused and think about the angels themselves and what they look like. But the seraphim, you have the seraphim, cherubim, thrones, which a lot of people think that Lucifer argue that Lucifer is in fact the cherubim. But nonetheless, all right. Oh, absolutely, they can be called upon, and you should. You absolutely 100%. You should call upon them, but remember, they cannot help unless you give them permission, because they're not going to interfere. They will not interfere in your life. They will not interfere in your. They will not violate your free will. That's what demons do. So you have to say, and we all have guardian angels. So your guardian angel, my guardian angel, whomever you may believe, whomever you may be, I give you permission to intercede on my behalf and help me with whatever it is that you're dealing with. So whatever it is that you're struggling with, there you are. Well, I mean, I can go back and give you all the names again and the spelling if you need that. I have no problem doing that real quick. Let's see. So we know Michael. We're good there, right? Okay. So let me go back here and give you all the spellings. So Michael was the first archangel that we discussed. Of course, then the next archangel, which is we should all pretty much know, we talked about Raphael. And then the next archangel, of course, which is pretty popular, is Gabriel. So I think we all know how to spell Gabriel. So those three shouldn't be too difficult as far as the spelling, and you can look those up and do your own Google research. Now, Jophiel, it's the spelling is Jopie as in Paul, Hiel, Jophiel. So Archangel Jophiel, Jophiel. You can ask, but they will not interfere in someone's they cannot violate anyone's free will, because the person may not want their help. See, there's a question about, I often ask my guardian angels to go to specific people who need help. And that's great that you do that. But remember, that person that you're asking for that guardian angel to help, they may not want that angel's interference. So therefore, the angel will not interfere. They can't. Free will is a universal gift that God does not interfere with. Anything that interferes with that free will is opposed to God. So while it's good that you are asking archangels to help someone, if they don't want the help, then they can't interfere. But you keep asking. There's nothing wrong with asking, but that doesn't mean that the angel is going to say, well, I'm going to interfere whether they like it or not. And now Ariel was one of them. Ariel is Ariel and Uriel. Some people will spell it either way. Instead of the, so Ariel, instead of the A, they will have U, or Ariel, Uriel, depending on who, the traditions. And then Azrael, which is Azrael. There's other spellings as well. So Azreal. That's Azrael. And Chamuel is, and I've already talked about that several times, Chamuel. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of the archangels or angels, period, and what did they look like. Okay. Okay. Let's put here. Okay, cherubim. It means holding something in safekeeping, and cherubim means to be near. And we see this actually in the cherubim, which is interesting. It appears 64 times in the Bible. And the cherubim, these angelic beings render the intimate service to God. Lucifer was the anointed cherubim with access to the holy mountain of God. We see this in Ezekiel chapter 28. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 24, it speaks of the cherubim. So they are the guardians who stand before God's throne. It says this in Exodus and Samuel and Kings and Chronicles and Psalm. They have intimate knowledge of God. This is why Lucifer is truly the father of all. He's a father of all lies. They do not look like those cute little chubby baby-like creatures that we see in paintings, my friends. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 13 through 21 describes them like this. They are living creatures. They have 4 faces. They are covered with eyes. They have 4 wings. They have bodies like men, a human face in the front, an eagle's face in behind, a lion's face to the left, and an ox face to the right. And by the way, when you think about it, it's pretty. Theologians have interpreted the faces of the cherubim to signify, first, the intelligent wisdom of humans, showing human beings authority to rule for God over his creation, as in Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. The strength of the lion, the servility of the ox, and the eagle, because the soaring swiftness of the eagle are in harmony with each other. So, and also, the 4 faces correspond in the New Testament with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John as God's completed message to humankind. So the number 4, it's symbolic of the world in Scripture. So that can refer to the 4 corners of the earth, implying that God's angels execute his commands everywhere. That basically, the eyes tell us that the eye of the Lord is everywhere. It's all seeing. The seraphim means love. And burning ones are nobles. They're close relatives to the cherubims. They are full of eyes in front and in back. Revelation chapter 4, verse 6 says this. They worship God day and night. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 3 says this. They help to launch Isaiah's ministry. Isaiah chapter 6. Now, they have 6 wings. First, they have 2 to cover their faces, so they won't look directly into God's glory. Now, this is the seraphim. Then they have 2 to cover their feet, acknowledging their subservience to God. And then they have 2 to which to fly. And, then we have archangel. The arch means chief or principal, great angel. And the name Michael is like who is like God. And Michael is a powerful fighter, particular responsibility for Israel. And we talked about that. We talked about Gabriel. We've already mentioned that. And then we have the heavenly hosts. Those are legions and legions of angels who are in heaven. And 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 35 speaks to that. And then we have thrones, dominions, principalities, and powers. Those are the ruling angels. They're referred to in Ephesians, if you want to look at that up, chapter 1, verse 21, chapter 3, verse 10. And then in Colossians, actually, it talks about that too. And thrones, by the way, refer to those who sit upon them, like both good and evil angels. Now, what's interesting is St. Paul actually mentions 4 kinds of angels among those who rebelled against God. Now, we know cherubim is one, because we know Lucifer rebelled. But he says principalities. So let me give you the 4 kinds of angels that Paul mentions. First, he says principalities. Those are the chief rulers, those of highest rank in the satanic kingdom. We see this in Colossians chapter 2, verse 10, Ephesians chapter 1, verse 21. Then you have what's called authorities. Those are fallen angels whose power is derived from Satan, and they do his bidding. So authorities are found in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 21, and chapter 6, verse 12. Then Paul talks about the rulers of darkness. So the spirit world rulers who assist the plans of Satan in the world. And we see this in Daniel. chapter 10, verses 13 through 21, and then Ephesians and Colossians. And then, of course, he talks about, finally, the spiritual wicked spirits. And those are operating from the heavenlies where Satan has his seat or operations, if you will. And that's Ephesians chapter 1, verse 21. So that's what Paul talks about. Principalities, authorities, rulers of darkness, and spiritual wicked spirits. Okay? And in Christianity, as I mentioned, the highest orders are the seraphim, cherubim, and thrones. And then you have, like I said, you have the middle orders, which is dominions, virtues, and powers. And then the lowest orders are principalities, archangels, and angels. Now, what's interesting, because I'm gonna finish this up when we talk about some articles that I have. Dionysius restudied the reference of angels in Scripture, and even other non-biblical sources. Now, he said that again there were 9 classes or choirs of angels, and he's the one that came up with the 3 spheres. So he came up with the first. When I say sphere, I'm also saying sphere. I'm also saying level or tier. It's the same thing. So if you say first order or first sphere or tier or level, and then second and third. So he really is the one that came up with the first sphere, the seraphim, cherubim, thrones, and then dominions, virtues, and powers. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can. Someone's asking me. Yeah, I'll briefly discuss that. So the seraphim means, remember, they're the burning ones. And they're the angels who constantly sing praise, God's praise. And the cherubim, they sent to guard the gates of Eden. Originally, they were depicted as the bearers of God's throne, the charioteers, if you will. And the thrones, they are called the many-eyed ones. They have the duty of carrying out God's decisions. And it's interesting because the thrones are also represented as fiery wheels. So if you've ever heard of Scripture talking about fiery wheels, many times they're referring to thrones. Dominions, their job is to regulate the duties of other angels to ensure that God's wishes are carried out. Angels of virtues, those are angels of grace who bring God's blessings to earth, usually in the form of miracles. They're known as the brilliant or shining ones, and they're associated with acts of heroism and bring courage when needed. You have powers, and their job is to prevent the fallen angels from taking over the world, keeping the universe the universe in balance. And and then you have the principalities, and the principalities are guardian angels of cities, nations, rulers. The archangels, probably the best known, they carry out God's most important messages to humans as Gabriel, and they're also commanded God's armies. And then we have the angels. Those are the celestial beings closest to humans. They act as intermediaries between the Almighty and humanity. Those are the ones that are actually called our guardian angels. Okay. Excuse me one sec. Oh, yes, Jeremiah, you're right. Yeah. See, a lot of people think that the devil will come to you in a grotesque figure. The devil was beautiful. Lucifer was beautiful. So Satan knows exactly 100% what to use to attack people. Do you realize, folks, the first sin in creation was not the Garden of Eden. The first sin in creation was Lucifer rebelling. He is the father of all lies. That's the first sin of the universe. Not human beings, not Adam and Eve. And, right, yeah, kind of, that's the first sin. Remember, Lucifer rebelled against God, blasphemed God. We have Lucifer in the Garden of Eden. So we know that the fall had already occurred. That's the first sin. And that is why Satan is so familiar with sinful desires, because he's the father of all lies. So, but many times you got to remember, Satan doesn't appear to you as this grotesque figure. No, if you're married and you have trouble sometimes with lust, Satan will put you in situations where he'll say, it's okay. You'll have that little nudge. It's all right. Go talk to her. Go talk to him. There's nothing wrong with talking. And before you know it, now you're talking. And then you just made a big, big mistake. So Satan knows how to manipulate. He's very cunning. And you're right, there's 7 deadly sins. So just be careful. Be very, very careful. This is why you need to call upon. This is why it's called discernment. So when you have the devil creeping in and wanting you to do something that you know intrinsically is wrong, then you call upon your guardian angel. You call upon, and can you look? I'm not implying that you cannot think in them. You can't. I'm not. People say, "Well, you can call upon God." Of course, I've said that a million times. To call upon angels is to call upon God, because they do the very bidding for God. God gives them the authority to help. This is what they are here for. They were not created in God's image. We were. This is why Lucifer rebelled. This is why possession takes place. We are the living temple of the Holy Spirit. Satan wants to desecrate the living temple of the Holy Spirit. This is why possession occurs. Desecration of God's image. And we have to remember that we are all created in his image, every single one of us. So you just have to remember that. Okay. So there we go, friends. Hopefully that will help you with our fun-filled, exciting presentation on our guardian angels. It's a lot of information, I know. You know, Alex, I keep it simple. As far as the calling upon, is there a prayer to call upon your guardian angel? I keep it very simple. I just simply say this: my guardian angel, whomever you may be, I give you permission to intercede on my behalf and help me with my, whatever it is. If you're suffering from loneliness, help me with my loneliness. Help me with my anxiety. Yeah, we talked about the angels, about who helps with anxiety. We talked about, call upon Raphael. Archangel Raphael, I call upon you today to intercede on my behalf and help me with my anxiety, or help me with my migraines, or help me with my pain and suffering. I'm asking you and I'm giving you permission to intercede on my behalf and help me. Watch miracles happen. And they will happen, but you have to give them permission. They will not interfere unless you give them permission. They can't. They are standing. Remember, you can call upon a legion of angels, and they're waiting in the sidelines, and they're watching you. They're wanting you to tag them in like a wrestling match. They're wanting you to tag them in, but they can't. They cannot be tagged in unless you give them permission. You are the one that has to extend the hand in order for them to tag in. But you have to extend the hand, because if you don't, they can't tag in. They can't. Why? Because that's interference, and they won't interfere. So keeping it in that perspective of sports, if you will, call upon them. God wants you to call upon them. That is why they are created. So call upon them. Let me tell you something. When I perform exorcisms, I call upon them. And I will call upon them every single day of my life. This is why I don't fear demons. This is why I don't fear Lucifer. I have no fear of Lucifer at all. I realized the depravity that he will go to in order to try to cause issues. But I'd never, ever place demons or Lucifer above God. Never. And neither should you. See, this is the problem with the book of Enoch, because the book of Enoch placed angels, so certainly demons, as deity status. No, they're not God. And that's why when people tell me all the time about demons, and then I ask them, have you prayed? And it's always, yeah, but. There is no yeah, but. There's no yeah, but at all. It's non-negotiable. We can't put demons here and God here. We are elevating demons to the status of God. And when you talk about what did you call upon God? Yeah, but no, you can't do that. You can't do that. So you have to remember, God is there waiting to help you and wanting to help you, but you've got to give them permission to. You have to give them permission. And then when you do, it will happen. Let's see, there was one second. All right. It's like this. A little boy was spending his Saturday morning playing in a sandbox. And he had with him his box of cars and trucks and his plastic, his pail and his shiny red plastic shovel. I've said the story once before. And he discovered a large rock in the middle of a sandbox. And the little boy dug around the rock, managing to dislodge it from the dirt with a good deal of struggle. He pushed and nudged the rock across the sandbox using his feet even. He pushed. He was a small boy. And the rock was huge. And when the boy got the rock to the edge of the sandbox, he found that he could not muster enough strength to roll it up and push it over the wall. So determined, the little boy shoved and pushed and kicked. But every time he thought he had made some progress, the rock tipped over and fell right back into the sandbox. So the little boy became so frustrated, and understandably so. But he shoved and he did it again and it would roll back. He struggled, pushed. But the only reward was having the rock roll back, smashing his little fingers. So finally he burst into tears of frustration. And all this time, the boy's father had been watching him from the living room as the drama unfolded. And the father went to where the little boy was, gently but firmly saying, "Son, why didn't you use all the strength you had?" And the defeated little boy just was crying and sobbing back, saying, "But I did, Daddy, I did. I used all the strength that I had." "No, son," corrected the father. "You did not use all the strength that you had because you didn't ask me to help you." And then the father reached down, picked up the rock, and easily removed it from the sandbox. So God is waiting for you to call upon him. He's our strength. He helps our weaknesses. He's waiting for us to surrender everything to him, all your worries, all your cares, even your barriers that comes in your way. But you don't have to face it alone. But you have to ask God to help. And when you do, that's when you'll see the rock just pushed out of the way. And that's what I believe. Okay. So there we are, folks. Hopefully that you've had a good time and you learned a little bit, and go from there. How's that? Yeah, you can call upon Raphael and Alma. Yeah. Okay, let me open it up for everybody on TikTok and just see how that goes. So next week, we're going to talk about another topic. I'll let you guys know about that just a little bit later on in the week. But I also want to people to tell me what your New Year's resolution is. If you're making those, if you have a New Year's resolution, we're going to do that next week. But we're going to of course have a topic, and I'll tell you the topic later. I do have a book, but I don't really promote it. It's out there somewhere. Well, Merry Christmas to you guys, and hopefully you all. And by the way, I want to remind everybody we're not leaving yet, but I want to remind everybody that we have night prayer. So we have night prayer coming up, in a little over an hour. So at 9:45 p.m. Eastern, we start at Spreaker. Spreaker is just audio, and then of course we start with TikTok at 9:50 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so 9:50 p.m. Eastern, and then we start officially at 10. And that is our night prayer for tonight. Okay, so our shows tonight on Friday nights, there's 7. This is the only time we actually have the show. It's at 7 p.m. on Fridays. So 7 p.m. Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we're going to, I'll do that on Epiphany. I'll talk about that on when we have Epiphany on the Kings. And then that'll be the January 6th, the Bible study then. And then tomorrow we'll have open mic night. So Miss Wilma is here. I think Miss Wilma's really sick. So Miss Wilma's not doing so well. She's kind of sickly. So she may not be with us. Thank you. She may not be with us tomorrow. I don't think she will be because she's really, really sick. So unfortunately, we have to keep her in our thoughts and prayers. And by the way, for those of you who are, all the presentations, everything that I do is all podcasted. Everything is all podcasted. So if you want to check that out, it's all on Spreaker. Everything is on Spreaker, Spreaker. Just go to bishopjameslong.com. And be well there. And then you can Bishop James Long scroll down to where it says social media links. By the way, there's a possibility. I heard. And I'm not. We're not talking politics here, so that's one thing I'm going to say. But I am going to say that Trump, Trump-elect, has petitioned the United States Supreme Court to delay the TikTok ban, and so he has officially petitioned the court. So we shall see. We shall see. That would be wonderful. I'm hoping that's the case, but because I don't want the TikTok to be banned. I think TikTok does although there's trolling, but I think there's a lot of great things on TikTok. So he has, in fact, this is an official petition. I just been informed right before we went on air, and so it has some pretty serious weight to it, and he's asking them to delay it until they can work out to figure out, what they're going to do from there. So, all right. Okay. So there we go. Oppression and possession. Okay. So what you have is there's 3 stages. There's infestation. So let's say you go out to a location. You say, come on, demons, I dare you to do something. Well, and now you have an attachment. You go home. Now you have a demonic infestation. Religious objects are desecrated. You may hear bangings of threes. You may smell sulfur or rotten flesh. It's a terrible, foul odor. Animals usually are terrified. Many times you can see shadows. Shadow people doesn't necessarily always mean evil. I've been to many locations where I saw shadow people and I never felt threatened. But so there are many times it's just overwhelming. Then it goes into oppression, but oppression has another stage to it. It's called oppression and obsession. Oppression is when the demonic begins to attack you on a physical level. The purpose of that is to break down the person's will. So it is sleep deprivation. It is trying to break down the immune system. It's trying to weaken the person, biting, scratching, pinching. It's attacking. It's quite violent. And we're past sleep deprivation. When you're dealing with oppression, you are at a point where you can't fight anymore. You're done. There's no fight. And at the same time, there's called demonic obsession. Now, demonic obsession is when it attacks the intellect. So many times, demonic oppression and obsession go hand in hand. So it's attacking you physically, but it's also attacking you on an intellectual level because it's trying to eradicate the intellect. So it's attacking the will by oppression, and then it attacks the intellect with obsession. So you begin to hear it. It begins to interact with you. And it tells you, if there's clergy, give up, don't let them in. Don't let them in. It really does mess a person's intellect. Once the intellect and will have become at such a defeated state, then you have possession. Possession can take place. However, there is what's called perfect possession and transient possession. Transient possession is when the demonic can enter the body and leave at will. The person remains in the stage of oppression and obsession. So let's say the person is not in the stage of possession. They still remain in obsession and possession and obsession because the demonic is continuing to attack the will because it doesn't want the person to get strong. Because then it has to go through that cycle all over again. So it continues to attack the person to have that person remain at a vulnerable state. So the demonic can enter the body. So Annalise McKell, otherwise known as Emily Rose, the exorcism of Emily Rose, she suffered from transient possession. The demonic would enter the body and leave at will, but she stayed in the stage of possession, or in a obsession. Oppression and obsession. She described them as ghastly figures. So so when a person is possessed, they don't remember the stage of possession. They have no memory of it at all because the demonic completely takes over the intellect and the will. And so the individual has absolutely no memory of possession. None. In the Roman Catholic, certainly in the Roman Catholic Church, over 2,000 years of history, there's never been a case where a person remembered the stage of possession. They remembered what led up to possession. So they remembered the stage of oppression and obsession. They remembered the suffering. But once possession took place and the demonic had complete control of the body and the consciousness, they go into almost a neurological catatonic state, if you will. They have no memory of it. And so they don't remember what happened in the stage of possession. It's like transient possession, when the demonic will enter the body, possess the body, have control of the consciousness, and then leaves at will. Then the person remembers what's going on under the stage of oppression and obsession. So they remember that attack, but they don't remember what possession. They have no memory of it. Okay. So hopefully that was a lot. That was a big dissertation on it, but it's kind of hard. It's very difficult to be able to answer questions like that without. The soul does not belong to the demonic. The soul belongs to God. So if a person passes away another stage of possession, the soul does not. The demons do not control the soul. Hang tight. For those of you on Spreaker, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. I have to wrap up Spreaker. I'll stay with TikTok a little bit longer afterwards, after we get wrapping things up here. I did not even get to any of my presentations, my articles, but we'll do that tomorrow because I have a lot of really, really cool articles that I want to talk to you guys about. They're pretty cool stuff. And by the way, don't forget, I'm going to be live with Bruce Tango, January the 25th. It's in Newark, New Jersey, and that's at the Clark Holiday Inn. So go to brucetango.com, click on the exorcism link, and you can get your tickets there. So if you're in that area, Newark, New Jersey, I'll be at the Clark Holiday Inn, January the 25th. That's Saturday. So there we go. Make sure you head on over there. Okay, friends, I want to thank you so much for being here. I know it went too fast. We're going to be here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I can get into more of your questions because I kind of ran over it. So I'll get into a lot more of your questions tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern from 8 to 8:30. We just goof off and have a good time. We tell jokes. We put a smile on your face. And then at 8:30, I go into answering your questions, okay? Okay, my friends, remember, Your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You are priceless. And never let any troll tell you or convince you otherwise. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and KGRADB Radio. Good night.